Alright, what's up guys? Chronos of Tech, and I'm going to be introducing you guys to the Cisco packet tracer. So this is, you can basically configure your own network. So if you want to configure like a LAN or a WAN, or just kind of, let's say you're going to move out to a new place, and you got to set up your internet, you got to set up your LAN, your WAN, and things like that. You can kind of practice on this platform. So there's two platforms. There's a physical platform and a logical platform. The physical platform is like you actually setting something up. So you have your main wiring closets, and then let's say you put, and all the devices are down here. So let's say you decide to put an end device, and it's and you decide to put like a PC. Well, you can't put there we go. So I thought you had to put the dresser first, but so you can you can actually see the PC. So you can see the PC, you can see the dresser, right? If I put a server here, right, then you can see the server, right? And you see the physical elements. The logical is more based on like how data actually transmits and is received through the network. So you can actually set up multiple things. You can say, okay, I'm gonna set up a server, I'm gonna set up a PC, I'm gonna set up a couple of laptops, and then obviously I need network devices, wireless devices. You need a home router, right? So you need a home router as well. And then what you guys could do is you guys can actually connect to the home router via Wi-Fi. You can actually click on the router. And the cool thing about Packet Tracer, well, I guess first I should kind of go over what these devices are. So you have connections, which are cables. So you have like console cable, copper straight through, copper crossover. I actually gotta hurry up this video. I have a meeting like in a few minutes. But okay, but we got fiber cables and things like that, right? So most of the time, if you're using an Ethernet cable, it's probably a copper straight through cable, and you can connect directly to the internet from that, or you can connect via Wi-Fi. So if I took the copper straight through cable and I guess I have to click it, right? And I connect it to my PC Ethernet port and connect it to the home router's Ethernet port, then I should have a connection to the internet. Just waiting for this to turn green. Is something stopped? So what you could do is this is actually really good for troubleshooting issues. So now we're not getting internet for some reason. We can actually click on the PC and we can look at, okay, why we're not getting internet. So we can look at the configuration. We can see that we're connected to fast Ethernet 0, okay, and this is the name of the PC, and it's set to static, right? Now we're getting an internet connection now, but it's set to static. It should be set to dynamic, but let's look at the desktop. So you can actually go into the IP configuration, and then you can look here and you can actually see that it is set to static. So we're not getting an IP address, so we should not be connected right now. But what you can actually do, guys, is it's actually cool because you can go into the command prompt and you can type in ipconfig, and you can actually look at your network and you can see that I'm not connected to the internet right now, or I'm connected, I have a successful connection, but I don't have a successful IP address, a default gateway, a subnet mask, or anything. And the reason why is because it's set to static, right? So what we want to do is we want to set that to DHCP, and DHCP stands for something. I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but it basically automatically gives us IP addresses, right? So for every device on the network, the PC, the laptops, the servers, the DHCP would give automatic IP addresses. So we can click on the PC. We can click on DHCP requesting IP address, and there we go. We have our IP address, we have our default gateway, and our subnet mask. So now what we could do is we can actually go on the browser and see if we can connect to the default gateway. Okay. And so we can go on our web browser and we can type in the default gateway address, which I believe was 192.168.0.1, I think. Yeah, and then that's the default gateway. It's asking for authorization. Most routers have an authorization of just admin, so both username and password is admin, so we're going to put that in, all lowercase, right? And we're in the router, right? And now we can see, okay, and this is a pretty good router for like a router that's not real, right? Like you have your setup here with your host name, your domain name, you have your router IP address or your default gateway, and you can change that. You can also change your subnet mask. You can enable DHCP or disable it. You can even do DHCP reservation, which is like super cool, because like, let's say for example, I have a server here, right? And my server is a DNS server, and it's serving DNS over the network for my PC and my 3 laptops. I'm gonna want my server to have a static IP address, right? And so what's great is I can actually go into DHCP reservation, and I can basically manually add my server's IP address so that my server stays static while all my other PCs are dynamic. So it still allows for, you know, if my friend came over and they have like a tablet, they can connect to the internet via and the DHCP will give it an automatic IP address, but my server's IP address, even if I do IP config release and release all the IP address and then renew it, I would still get the same IP address for my server because wait, my bad. Yeah, there we go. I would still get the same IP address for my server because I reserved the IP address. Okay. You can also set our start IP address and our maximum users. So if we say, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 users, and maybe we have like 3 friends that come over on the weekend, then maybe we set our max to 7, right? And then we can also start our IP address. Instead of at 100, we can say we can start at 10, right? And then we can save that setting. And so it's going to reconnect because I believe our IP address was different. And what's going to happen is going to give it a new IP address that's not between, okay, the request timed out because I changed the IP address. So we look at IP config. Let's re-request an IP address. And we're not getting a default gateway. The DHCP failed. So now we have to troubleshoot, right? And I'm not sure if I'm going to troubleshoot everything right now. Okay, now we're getting a default gateway. So as you see, we're at 168.0.10, right? So our starting IP address is at 10. Our max is 7, so our max should be 17. Okay, so if I start up all these laptops, which I'm not going to do right now because I'm just giving you guys a tutorial, but if I start up all these laptops, you would see that each IP address is within the range of IP address that was set over the router. So if we go back to the router and we go to the web browser, we type in the router's IP address 192.168.0.1 and we put in admin. Then we can scroll down and we can see that our maximum amount of users is 7. Our starting IP address is 10 and our PC is 10. And our IP address range is from 10 to 16, okay, which allows for 7 users, okay. So each one of these laptops will have to be within this range and within this subnet mask, okay. So it's great, you know. I mean, you can also go to wireless and you can actually enable your SSID broadcast or disable it. You know what I mean? You can change the passwords. You can go to wireless security. You can enable encryption. Because right now there's no security, right? Which is, you know, if I put all these laptops on Wi-Fi, everyone will be able to connect. But if I decided to, you know, take everybody on the 2.4 gigahertz and put a password there, then they wouldn't be able to connect anymore. You can also set up guest networks. You can even set up wireless MAC filters. Wireless MAC filters are used to block MAC addresses, right? So you guys should already know this, but every computer, every device that's connected to the network has a MAC address, which is a physical address. So well, I'm not gonna do that right now, but like everyone has a MAC address. So if I took like this PC's MAC address and put it into my MAC filtering, it would disable the PC from accessing the network. So the PC would not be able to access the internet anymore. It's like a block, right? So you have security, you have access restrictions, which is pretty cool. You can restrict certain applications. Applications in gaming, administration. So this software is like really good to practice your networking skills, like practice connecting to different networks, practice setting up servers, setting up LANs. You can even set up multiple LANs, right? Like I could set up, I can go to network devices, wireless devices, and I can set up like another home router, right, and put it over here and connect it to like a separate network. And you can set up as many networks as you want. You can create a WAN and connect all the networks together, or connect all the LANs together. Like you can really practice and just kind of have fun with everything. You can even set up the server, right? So if I go onto server and I go into services, I could set up a DHCP server. I could set up a DNS server, right? I could set up a FTP server, or an email server, which is SMTP, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you can actually set up servers, you can set up LANs, you can do all that within this software. So it really allows you to practice setting up, different network configurations and how to, and over time you will become better at like setting up your own home network, right? So it's pretty cool application. I thought I would introduce you guys to it if you guys haven't already seen it. This is called Cisco Packet Tracer. You can download it off the Cisco Packet site. Just Google it. And yeah, so that's it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm out.